Hello and welcome to This Is Razer. They're out of their goddamn mind.
I know nothing. You were able to meet up with Razer at CES.
Yes.
I was not able to attend. So what is wrong with Razer? What did they do?
I want to
Why
say
upset?
first what's right with Razer.
Okay, cool.
Their laptops right now are probably the best laptops on the market for a gamer. The Blade 16 is probably the most well-built and complete package from a hardware standpoint. Nowhere else are you gonna get the power, the features, the build quality. I'm gonna tell you about the base model, an i9 14900 HX, QHD plus, 16 gigs of RAM, 240 hertz OLED display, 1 terabyte SSD, and an RTX 4070. That is the base model. This is where they're out of their mind. A lot of companies, that is their top of the line model. It starts at $3,000. They didn't raise the price from last year, but they did get rid of the 4060 SKU. I don't want to make it sound like the only way to get into Razer is 3000, but it's not much better. First of all, they're still selling a lot of their old laptops on the website, which is fine, whatever. But the 2022 Blade 14, which is a Ryzen 9 6900 HX, a 3080 Ti, that's $2,000. But the 2023 model, which is a Ryzen 9 7940HS, is also $2,000. This is so confusing to look at the page and be like, okay, do I want a 2022? Do I want a 2023?
Don't buy the 2022. The 2023s are discounted right now as they're moving over to the 2024s.
Right, but like discount it more. Get it out of the system.
What is your problem with this besides the pricing, which obviously is high? But it's Razer.
Well, I mean that is the main argument. Is like the pricing is so high. Basically, what Razer has done, they have said we're only looking to be a premium brand. I would have said that like Razer was more of like a Toyota back in the day. You can go and get a Camry, which is the Blade Stealth.
Okay.
You could go get a 4Runner if you wanted the extra power. Now, it seems like they just want to be Land Rover.
There was never a Razer laptop that's cost less than like $1,000 at like the base model. Like Razer have always been the Apple of gaming. The problem, though, is that they're not executing to the same level. So I recently did a video on the ROG Zephyrus G14, and full disclosure, that was a sponsored video, although this is not. This is my, completely unbiased opinion. That G14 has the nicest design of any gaming laptop I have ever used. It is Razer-esque, but dare I say, better. There's so much that this G14 and by extension the G16 does right that it feels like Razer have just incrementally move things forward, and ROG just took a massive leap forward. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Do you have a side hustle or small business? Do you ever create content yourself like we do on a very regular basis? Well, you can boost your brand and engage your audience with a gorgeous, easy-to-use website.
Squarespace's all-in-one tools make it super simple to find a flexible template that fits your vision and makes it do whatever you need. And you don't need any IT experience either, because Squarespace's Fluid Engine interface lets you easily drag and drop to customize and instantly preview any design elements.
Their built-in store feature makes it a breeze to sell whatever you want to. Your products, your content, your merch, or even your time. They want to make things as simple and seamless as possible to do what you want to do without having to jump through the hoops, and importantly, have something that actually looks unique to your brand.
You want a good example? Check out our page that we put together for This Is. Pretty nice, right? Because I did it all myself.
That's
Give
a lie.
me all the credit.
Nope,
whatsoever.
Kinsey made it.
No one else made it but me. And you can check out squarespace.com/thisis to get your 14-day free trial and 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Thank you very much to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode of This Is. In my opinion, if you're looking for a gaming laptop, you're probably going to falling into maybe like one of three different camps. If you're just a budget gamer, you're going to probably be looking for something sub $1,000. Build quality, screen, like there's going to be some sacrifices, but at that sort of $1,000 less price point, you can get yourself a decent low-end, say RTX 4050 or something, or maybe even a little bit older. Then there also is probably the higher end, which is you're not going to hugely care about the size and weight of the device, but you're going to want a 4070, 4080, maybe even a 4090. You want tons of performance, and you're going to be paying a good amount, but maybe not necessarily $4 or $5,000, right? You can still get a very powerful laptop for $1,500 to $2,000, right? And then there's that sort of middle, which is where I think you probably find yourself in, which is I want a device that is going to have good performance, but importantly, I really care about the design. I care about the screen. I want a good all-arounder. And I think that's what Razer have traditionally done really well. I think it's what ROG have done pretty well in the past with the G14, and now have done phenomenally well with the new model. And my concern here for Razer is it feels like they've been leapfrogged by ROG this year.
And like a big cost of the Razer is the the build process, because it used to be a really easy argument, like, why is these two spec for spec things $500 different?
Yep.
And you could be like, well, because Razer's going with this millings technique. A big reason why like MacBooks are so expensive, like it's, I don't want to say it's an excuse, but it's an understandable cost. And that led to really solid builds. I personally preferred Razers because of that. That's a big reason why I prefer MacBooks. This is one of the times we're on the same page.
What?
Like, if you look at, again, just looking at the specs of a Razer, it's hard to ask for anything else. You're looking at this, they have given you the kitchen, everything in the kitchen sink. Razer has not raised their pricing at all. If you look at traditionally what their like models were, $3,000 was roughly the same price to get the exact same tier of equivalent specs.
They just got rid of their base model, which
they said
was
we're not going to do a
underpowered
4060. We're not going to do it like whatever. Here's the one that I'm going to give them actually a really big thumbs up for. It's not for me, but I do feel it's good for a lot of people, and that's the 18. One of the things I love about Razer is there's no bezels. So an 18 is now the size of a 17. Take any B-roll you saw from CES with a grain of salt. The screen that they were showing off was a prototype, so it's like twice as thick as it's gonna be. They basically said with the 18, we're not going to be concerned about this being a laptop. We know that if someone's buying this, they want a desktop replacement. They're like, you know what? We're expecting people to add all these peripherals with it, blah, blah. It almost makes more sense if you're in the market for a 16 to go up to the 18. I'm with you on the, on ASUS. But my question is, how the hell are they getting away with this?
I don't know the numbers, but my gut is that ROG probably sell a whole, and ASUS obviously as a whole, sell probably a lot more systems than Razer. And I think that because they can sell so many, they're able to push the price down of the G14. But the fact that they're pushing excellent build quality, that lightweight design, and a very, very nice 2.8K 120 hertz OLED panel at sub $2,000, it just makes me sort of question, like, in the past, you could still argue for Razer because of the build quality. Like, that was like the main thing. And now that ROG have kind of done it better, you just gotta wonder, like, what are they gonna do from here? Because they can't compete on price. They can barely compete on performance, but like they're not like hugely improved.
The thing is, you talk about like volume, but I mean, they have so many lines of laptops. Do you think they could keep this up, or is this like a play for like this year, and then we'll get a little bit of creep later on where
I don't
it's
think
like,
so.
you know,
so when I was making my video on the G14, I did not have price at all. In fact, I didn't have price until just now. When I was doing it, I was basically saying like, hey, this thing is going to be way more expensive, but whatever. But I asked him like, hey, can you give me a price? And go, well, it's going to be about the same as the existing G14.
Yeah.
Which was surprising to me because it clearly is a more expensive laptop to manufacture. But like,
here's the thing. People watch this video like, well, I want to get a laptop. What laptop should I get? You should not get the 2024. You should get the 2023 G14. Can I show you the price of last year's model?
The G14, which is outfitted with a 4070 Ryzen 9 7940HS 165Hz display, currently on sale for $450 off at $1399.
That's a lot of laptop for $1,400.
Yeah, you know what? And that is, for context, the same RTX 4070 running at a slightly lower TGP as you would get inside the Blade 16 for $3,000.
It's like, ideally, my MacBook, if I was to daily a Windows laptop, I'm going for this one right now because I don't like, as much as like I played with both G14s. The build quality was already really good on the previous one. Well, the main difference was it was plastic. It was a nice, like, solid plastic. It didn't have a lot of flex to it, whatever. I don't think the new one is $500 better. The OLED is nice, but like it's
a lot of money though.
$500 is $500, which is gonna lead me back to Razer. Why the hell aren't they doing that on like their 2022 models?
Here's the thing,
like,
if we're talking about Razer have tried a lot of things over the years. They've done some of the wacky stuff with like the mask and whatnot. They've also tried phones. Remember the Razer phone? They did that for a little while.
I actually really like the Razer phone.
But ultimately, I feel like Razer is more of a lifestyle brand with more of a focus on like peripherals. For me, it's like, okay, what are Razer really good at right now? Look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a peripheral company. You know, there's tons of peripherals out there, and Razer are able to charge very high pricing, and I will give them credit. I feel like Razer kind of pushed mechanical keyboards on the masses for quite a while. I think, and I'm saying this with nothing but love in my heart, that it is time for a little bit of soul searching when it comes to the laptops, because they've pushed the industry forward. The Razer Blade 14 was one of the first real 14-inch laptops. They have done good work, but I think that they're starting to fall at risk of being too generic. They're no longer super unique in the way that they used to be, when a company like ROG can come out with a design which is basically Razer but better at a lower price. If you're Razer, you've got to see that, and you got to feel like some existential dread that you got to shake something up. You need to cut some prices. You need to be way more sort of out there with your design, because they basically make the same design every year, which is fine when you're the only person who's out there spending all this money on the tooling and stuff. But they're not the only people anymore. Like there's real competition.
Here's what I think they want to do. They're clearly targeting the high-end esport player. I think what they're trying to do is have this be the esport machine, especially the 18. These are the new generation of athletes. If I'm watching and like, oh, this is my favorite esports player, what does he use? He uses a Razer.
My concern here is that ultimately you can have all the marketing in the world. That certainly is a big component of a successful brand. But marketing alone cannot win you the day. You've got to have a product to back that up. And I'm not saying that Razer products are bad. What I am saying is that as they continue to creep up in price, or at least stabilize at $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, you need to really, really earn that price. And when there are competitors who are, let's be real, doing a very good job, maybe a better job in some cases, at significantly less, you can't coast on that. They need to be doing something different.
I feel like they're really targeting the high-end esports player.
Yes, they are.
Look at your favorite basketball player. What shoes is he using? Look at your favorite baseball player. What bat is he using? And that's like I think that's what they're trying to do here.
I agree. The brand is important. I just think that they've gotten a real shot across the bow this year, and I think that they need to use this as a wake-up call. They got to come with their A game next year. They need some new concepts. They got to shake it up somehow.
Give me a 12-inch gaming laptop with a 4070.
Give me a reason why I'm going to pay this much money for a unique product, and not this is the same thing as a ASUS sell, except it is more expensive and kind of not as good. If your star products, your laptops, are being outcompeted, you got to do something about it. Right? It's not rocket science. As long as they continue this sort of iterative, like we're going to like tweak, little spec upgrade here, a little bump here. I just think that's not a forward-looking way of doing it. People are paying for innovation. People are paying for wow factor. People are paying for the best.
If the market is for the esport player.
But that's not an esport player. That's a rich esport player.
Right, but that's my point. It's like that's what they're targeting. Ignore like for the masses for a second.
Sure.
I'm not trying to defend Razer. I think it's ludicrous that it's $3,000 to start.
Yeah.
But if their internal conversation is, we don't want the masses. We only want
the high
rollers.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is the laptop for a high roller?
I still don't think that there are incredibly strong value propositions when it comes to the current Razer line. I would say the G14 straight up beats the Blade 14. Like, I don't think it's a competition.
I would say that if the G14 did not get the refresh of the build, I would go for a Razer over the G14.
But they just lost that.
Price wasn't an option.
Razer just lost one of their biggest aces in the hole, which was this incredibly premium design. Now that there's some real competition out there that has arguably a better design.
But again, I think they need to focus their marketing.
It's not a marketing problem. It's a, hey, make more innovative products problem. Or stop charging these kind of prices. You gotta cut one way or another.
The 18 is showing that innovation. 18-inch, 240 hertz OLED.
Great. Love it.
Great.
Yeah.
But no one knows that exists. Because all their marketing is for the 16 that costs $3,000.
That's what they sell.
Let us know in the comments what you think. What laptop are you getting? Or are you just getting a Dell?
Hello from